feel like I'm just gonna have to keep deleting this, and hopefully I do not have to keep deleting this. Hopefully I can just get this video done. So hi you guys, my name is La, and I like to study astrology and astronomy. So I am also very intuitive psychic. Um, I am a lot of things. And I woke up thinking about Madonna for some weird reason. So I said, let me go look into Madonna's birth chart. So that is what we're doing. This is my third time doing this video. I'm just going to excuse you guys. I live in a house with people, and when I'm recording, just, a click in their head to be quiet. So sorry, you guys, if you do hear anything in the background. All right. I just want to go ahead and get into this reading. I do study Vedic astrology. Look into Western astrology. It's kind of what led me to astrology in English class. I was studying the star series, and we had to write a report series, and I just fell in love with the stars, which led me to the zodiac signs, and I've been doing that for about 16 years now. So go ahead and get into it. I learned about them and like did the horoscopes and stuff, but like I never went as deep as I have been within the past 3 years. So I've known about it for 16 years, and like each little individual sign, but like I've learned, so there's so much more to astrology. It's just so amazing. And so yeah, we're gonna go ahead and do a live reading on Madonna. So I don't know how to like switch my screen over so you guys can like see what I'm seeing. I wish I did, but I don't. So you're just gonna see my gorgeous face, and let's talk about it. So we have Madonna's ascendant sign is in Leo. So having the ascendant in Leo, if you guys know, this is the way that you present yourself. This is your character. This is the way you go towards the world, and this is the way the world sees you. This is your actions towards in the world as well. So with a Leo ascendant, she could give off this like center of attention. As you guys know, she's Madonna. She's very famous. She's a natural born entertainer in the world, in the eyes of the world. She was just born with it. It's a gift. As we go more into her astrology chart, I'm sure she'll have more of that. But with the Leo ascendant sign is just every room she goes into, she's looked at. She's the center of attention. Leo ascendant sign is someone who is just born to entertain. That's the way the world looks at them. It's also the way they perceive and go through the world. She could love to dress up. Okay, she could love to. She could love to date. At some time, she could have a struggle with her ego, being that Leo is known as, the child of the zodiac. Everything must revolve around them at all times, and there's like nothing outside of them, and they just put themselves on like this pedestal. So that would where she would be getting her diva from, would be ascendant in Leo. Moving on, her sun is actually in the sign of Cancer. So you got to think this is like a mirror. Her shadow is always trying to mirror to her how she's expressing herself. And not only is it in Cancer, it's in the 12th house. So literally, her subconscious connected to the collective, and it's like her ego is trying to detach herself from the collective and be an individual. Meanwhile, if she leans too far, to the left into her ego, she'll block out her collective side and not be connected to the collective. But if she goes too much into the collective, she'll lose her sense of self. So it's like this ongoing battle of trying to create harmony between her self identity and the collective, and how she can express both of those at the same time. So if you are aware of what a collective consciousness is, it's like the mind, the universe, all of our minds, we are all linked together, and Everything's linked together, whether we believe it or not, even though we express ourselves in different ways, but we all come from one source. It's just about who's embodying it and how that person is made to express themselves. That's why, if you guys notice on my channel, if you watch my tarot readings, I talk about demons and stuff like that because they don't scare me. I just know there's one source of energy, and we all are getting our power from that source of energy, and we're just different expressions of it. So that's my ideology. That's how my philosophy is. That may not be yours, and that's okay. But back to Madonna, she is having this ongoing battle with the collective consciousness, her own individuality. She can be a great leader for the collective consciousness, and this is why whatever she does, so many people are swayed, so many people are moved and followed by it because she has such the strong hold on the collective consciousness. Now, moving on to her moon sign, her moon, this is just so, it's like the collective consciousness of Madonna is just like so strong. She has the moon in Leo in the first house. So once again, it's that same energy being tripled. Her moon, her sun, and her ascendant are all the same, pretty much, if you want to look at it that way. Her moon and her sun are all in conjunction. No, I don't want to say conjunction. They're like in combat. So I want to say like a square. They're like fighting to have harmony. She's fighting to have harmony with the collective. Not only does she have an impact on the collective, but she can't lose her sense of self in the collective. That's a lot. She has to have her boundaries when it comes to herself, and when it comes to, it's kind of like a double-edged sword. She has to have her boundaries when it comes to her expressing herself, just in general. She can't block out her shadow. A part of her could neglect her shadow, and this could lead to like over feeling like the world owes her and she doesn't owe the world anything. Like she's the greatest thing that ever hit the earth, and there's no one better than her or will ever be better than her. It's kind of like this super powered ego that could come from her. It's like, I'm the greatest thing that ever happened to the collective. You guys would be nothing without me if I never did this earth type of like deal. Like when I walk into the room, everybody bow the fuck down on knees because I'm royalty. That's what it is. It's kind of like, just like, it could be a really super big ego if it goes too much to the ego, and say if she's too much into the, she can lose herself and be a slave to like what the world or people want her to be. She could just totally lose her sense of self and not expressing herself. So that's something that she probably deals with on an everyday basis. Not only is it in her ascendant, her sun, her moon, it's also in her Mercury. So we have Mercury in the 12th house. She's always having this fight to express herself without neglecting the collective consciousness. So it's like at some point she could get lost with addictions, whether it be drugs, alcohol, or maybe even like wanting to be the center of attention, or she could have episodes where she just wants to hide. She doesn't want anyone to see her. She doesn't want to be around anyone because she feels lost at the moment when it comes to expressing herself. She's definitely not someone to fuck with. With her moon being, this is like having Mars. She has Mars in the moon in Leo. So this is like, because Mars would be the first house. This is like her emotions are very strongly felt. Like she makes a really big impact. Like I can't stress that enough. Going down into her Venus Cancer placement. So She has a desire to be nurturing and loving to the collective, with it being in the 11th house of the collective, which would be Aquarius energy. She has a desire to make an impact and be this mothering, like mothering of the nations, mothering of a collective. She wants to empower people. She could also rebel against from this as well, and another side effect of that. To the point to where she just doesn't want to be a part of the collective. She just wants to be her own star. Um, she could deal with a lot of negative thinking because she neglects this part of her shadow self, and her shadows kind of torment her into facing and looking at her own soul and looking at herself and being remembered that from one source of energy, we're just expressing it in our own individual ways. You could see her rebelling against that, especially with technology in the 11th house. Um, she makes a big impact on lots of communities. Then we have Mars and Aries, gang, gang. I am Mars and Aries in the 10th house. Gang, gang, we do not play. So she has Mars and Aries in the ninth house. She could be very driven when it comes to her philosophy and what she believes in. Nobody's going to tell her any different, nor will she be swayed to be any different. She might also struggle and may need to get a teacher or a guru of sort to help her embrace and develop this individual expression of what her philosophy is in life and what her truth is. She may have a mentor, or she may be a mentor to many who have a struggle with expressing their their selves. Now she has Jupiter and Libra in the second house, which explains why she has an expansion of fame, partnerships, deals, and contracts. With it being in the second house, this is like Libra, Venus, Taurus, like strong impact on beauty, aesthetics, and just her public image and herself here. Um, this is the things that we desire. So not only does she desire the luxurious things in life, that's what she wants to like expand on. Like that is part of her philosophy, is feeling beautiful, looking beautiful, being the queen, wearing the pearls and just, wearing the Gucci, Louis, Prada designer. If I'm correct, she came out with that song, Material Girl Living in a Material World. That is prime example of Jupiter in Libra, the second house. She's a material girl living in a material world. I just want to confirm that song is by Madonna. I believe it is. Yeah. Madonna. I totally spelled that wrong. Yes, she came with a song. She says in her lyrics, word for word, if you guys want to have an image, some boys kiss me, some boys hug me. I think they're okay if they give me proper credit. I just walk away. They can beg and they can plead, but they can't see the light. That's right, because with the cold hard cash, it's always Mr. Right. So gold digger vibes. Because living in a material world, I am a material girl. You know what we are. Living in a material world, I am a material girl. So, quote unquote, gold digger vibes. Not only is she going to get her own, but she wants yours too. She says, some boys can romance, some boys slow dance. That's all right with me. If they can't raise my interest, then I have to let them be. Some boys try, some them boys lie, but I don't let them play no way. Only boys that save their pennies make my day rainy. So in other words, she don't like broke boys. If you broke, don't come nowhere near her. Her standards are high. She knows her worth, and she's not going to look for anyone. She's someone with extremely high standards, and she expands on that like a lot. She purchases foods, loves to be in the best places: Greece, Rome, Paris, France, London. She wants everything adequate. Everything. She likes quantity over quality. She's definitely big on that. So she has Saturn in Scorpio in the fourth house. And this is retrograded, which I forgot to add that Mercury's retrograded. So she goes into introspection a lot about the way that she expresses herself. Like I said, she could be very hard on the way she expresses herself, or she's forced to slow down and think about how she's been expressing herself and communicating in areas that she may need to work on or teach to others. With her moving back to Saturn in Scorpio, she has power. Saturn slows her down from, you know, wanting to take power over, a collective. Like I said, she could rebel from like wanting to nurture. Instead, she could rebel and not want to help and nurture. She could cut herself completely off and put herself in a crab shell to where she doesn't want to communicate and be that helper for the collective. With her Scorpio in the fourth house retrograde, she has to think about her foundation a lot. What she's rooted in, what she believes in. Saturn's going to teach her many lessons and make her, Scorpio is the mirroring that I was talking about, make her reflect on herself and the way that she's presenting herself to the world, since she has such a large impact in the world. We have Uranus in Cancer in the 12th house, and there goes that rebellion. Like I said, that she's very psychic, very intuitive. She might even have gifts that are like just like out of this world. With her Uranus, that's that strong Lilith energy. This is, I'm not going to tell a man can't tell me what to do. I'm not going to be submissive to a man. Or this could play out the other way. She could be over nurturing and overbearing and doesn't know her boundaries. Because Uranus doesn't want boundaries. Uranus wants to rebel. They don't want to conform. This could also, once again, make her a big leader of of a generation. She could be the biggest leader of that generation and whatever it is she decides to express herself in. She could also be shamed for a lot of the ways that she expresses herself with this Uranus in the 12th house placement. A lot of people could rebel against how she expresses herself, especially when she taps into that collective energy. This is like shaming her for her beliefs and the way that she nurtures and the way that she cares for herself. A lot of people could think that she's very self-centered, and she's not. She's just trying to protect herself because she's so emotional. Moving on. Wow. She has Neptune in Libra in the third house. So not only this talks about her upbringing and the way she learned to communicate. She was taught in different ways, whether she was unconsciously aware of it or not. Subconsciously, she was taught how to look at the duality of things and how to put herself in another person's shoes, and also, see both truths, if that makes sense. Like I said, there's your truth, there's my truth, and then there's the truth. So she was, can you close that door? So she was the one with your TV, it's too loud. She was put in situations in her childhood that might have made her very indecisive, or maybe not want, maybe put illusions on what the truth was. Okay. She could have dealt with a lot of relationships that taught her these lessons. She learned from a lot of relationships that she was put in, whether they were good or not, platonic, business, uh, romantic. She learned most definitely from her upbringing, the relationships, the people that she grew up with in her surroundings as a child. There have been a lot of illusions she had to go through. Um, Definitely a lot of lessons here that she may still even be learning about partnerships and relationships. She might have tried to escape in relationships, or escape from relationships when she was a child. Moving on, we have Pluto in Leo in the 12th house, and that brings us back to that power struggle that I was talking about between her and the collective. She can lose her sense of self, or she can lose the sense that, that we were all connected. She could feel like, no, I stand on top of the collective and I am more powerful than the collective. The world should be under my feet because this is my world and I came here, I walk on it, and there's just nothing more fabulous than me. So you do as I say, or I will destroy you. So she could have that ego character going on right there, big power struggle right there. Or she could feel passionate about expressing her love for the collective and how powerful be playing our own characters. Because Leo is the actor, the actors, they like to play roles. Okay, she could get lost in playing roles in society. Like I said, she could submit to the way that society wants her to be, like her saying, I'm a material girl living in the material world. A different aspect of that could be her, like, she feels like she's a slave to the world because it's material and she just wants to be free. In the collective, she doesn't want to separate herself, express herself. She wants to be free, and she feels like she can't because there's constraints on that. I need a lawyer. So her North Node is in Libra in the second house. She's learning, and she's learning to, have partnerships and not run away from partnerships. She's learning to value her partnerships, her relationships. With the retrograde, she might have to really about the way she communicates and the way she harmonizes her relationships in herself. And she might also have to go back and think over and over again about the relationship with herself. Have loving herself. I've seen that because I have 12th house in Cancer. This also be like sacrificing yourself to a relationship, and not really caring, just this undying, unconditional love. She can have a trouble giving that to herself because she feels like she does play such a big role in society, and she could inflict a lot of self-hatred and struggle psychologically with that. Having to regroup and rethink all the time about how she loves herself and how she loves the world and the people in the world. Moving on, we have her Lilith Pisces in the house. Oof, I have this placement as well. Like I said, she could sacrifice everything unconditionally. A lot of people that she does love, they do hurt her, but it's for the involvement of her soul here. With Lilith in the 12th house, she could kind of have this like possessive desire unconsciously to control the people that she loves, unconditionally. Not only the people that she loves unconditionally, she could have this possessive desire to control the collective, the consciousness of the collective, seeing herself as a god and there it being no other goddess. Sorry about that. Okay, yeah, seeing herself as a goddess, which we were goddesses, forgetting to give the masculine energy. We're all gods and goddesses, but we have to give and receive. So she could have power struggles with that and go through lots of transformations, psychologically, subconsciously. She's going many transformations because the collective is always evolving. So every time something big happens in the collective consciousness, you'll see it in Madonna. You will. She'll show you whether she's shaving off her eyebrows, she's changing her hair, she's doing a crazy episode on the internet. You'll know when something's up with the consciousness through Madonna because it's to and be kind of like this physical form of what's going on in the collective consciousness. So she does have her Chiron and Capricorn in the 6th house. So like I said, she could feel like a slave to the world. Chiron is somewhere where we're wounded and we never heal, but it's something that we can teach to others. She may pay attention to the details a lot, or she may think of the details. Like I said, getting lost in that fantasy. 6th house Capricorn, who overworks, over hard. They take their career so serious, and they pay attention to the details of everything in the world, so much to the point to where they neglect their spirituality. She may struggle with. That's probably why she has so many 12th house placements, trying to break those constraints of the world that have wounded her soul. Remember, she says, I'm material girl. Living in a material world, it's done something to the collective soul. If we don't know, the world, they say the world is cold. There's things in the world that we aren't aware of. There's history they hide from us. There's just so many different things that they don't tell us, and they leave the collective feeling lost. They leave individuals feeling lost, and kind of, we have to find it out on our own. She could be wounded. She is wounded from the ways of the world and routine, trying to be in the world, but not of the world. In a lifetime, maybe in a past life, she might have dealt with that ego and that sense of power, kind of like, like Hitler vibes, kind of like she let the world, she just got addicted into things of the world. She became of the world instead of being in the world. She allowed it to wound her in her routine, or some effect like that. So she definitely has a karmic lesson that she has to learn with the world in her routine. She definitely goes back and forth because this placement is in retrograde on how she impacts the world and how the world impacts her and how we're all connected. Her fortune is in Virgo in the 1st house. So when she learns self-development, when she learns how to pay attention to the details and be of service, you know, by taking care of her health and just expressing who she is as an individual, she will be rewarded for that. As you guys can see, she's very famous. So she's learned her gifts and she's learned to utilize and use those gifts. Okay, so people that she's dated in the world, I see her Capricorn in the 5th house in her vertex. She literally could have dated a legit demon, and this made a big impact on the way she expresses herself. Or she just dated someone who had a lot of control and forced a lot of structure and control in her life, and it made a big impact on the way that she expresses herself. or just the world in general. This is Capricorn energy. The world, the money, or per se, could have made a big impact on the way she expresses herself. Um, Moving on, her second house is in Virgo, so she's going to value the service that she gives to the world. It's going to be something very important to her. She's going to take her work very serious, and the way that she can help others, because Virgo is of service, the way she can help others nurture and grow things, but still while not losing herself, setting those healthy boundaries and not falling into some type of illusion. She's going to value her routine when she can't, and when she feels herself falling too far off from it. Her fifth house is in Sagittarius, so she can be very optimistic. I do have fifth house in Sagittarius in the moon. I can be very optimistic at some, to the point to where it's like it's overly optimistic, so it has to be controlled. Or she could be very pessimistic in a shadow aspect of this, being that Sagittarius's shadow would be Gemini, and Gemini could be like very non-committal and just not seeking long-term relationships. With it being in the fifth house, she could feel like she just wants to travel, kind of like gypsy vibes. I get gypsy vibes all the time, where she just wants to travel. She doesn't really want to commit to a person per se. I'm not sure when she's married or not, but that could be something that she deals with, wanting to just be free. I see her wanting to be free a lot, but it's like the world has such a strong grip on her. She really can't be as free as she would like to be. It's kind of like um, she really has to let spirit work through her, or she's going to have trouble. And you'll see it be expressed through, you'll see it being expressed. She has a sun squared to Mars, so there's definitely a disharmony there. Like I said, she's always fighting to express herself, um, or she's very ambitious about the way that she does express herself. So you got to look at the duality of it. She can struggle for harmony in between being ambitious about how she expresses herself, or she can struggle with finding the ambition to express herself. She has Jupiter as a sextile with the sun. So this gives her a little bit of freedom that she likes to have, knowing that everyone has their own philosophy in the way that they express themselves, knowing that your truth may not be my truth, and that's okay, because that's what we're here for, is to express different aspects of the universe, of the power, of the source, of God, whatever you want to call it. Um, Sun trying to Saturn. So Saturn does help her keep that structure when it comes to expressing herself. Okay, so it is for her benefit. That way, she's not leaning too much to the side. She's learned her lessons about the consequences of leaning back and forth, especially with these retrograde planets. She probably rethinks about them a lot. Conjunction with the Sun and the Pluto here. Um, Very powerful impact with the way that she expresses herself. When she uh, can properly express herself, it brings transformation to not only her life, but the people's lives around her, and the people who follow her are on her vibe of collective consciousness. She does have another conjunction here with the moon and the Mercury. Um, she won't have a problem expressing her emotions, but she may have a problem with saying too much, if that makes sense. Okay. Um, but they do come together, and the way she thinks and the way she feels will come into alignment, and it'll be very powerful when she speaks about feels. Now we do have trying to Mars. So like I said, that power, that ambitious, like the way she feels, no one's going to be able to tell her that how she feels is wrong because that's her truth. Or she's going to struggle finding the ambition to express her truth. We have the moon squared to Saturn. Like I said, there goes that struggle. She's going to have to learn many lessons about bringing that harmony between speaking too much and, you know, giving and receiving, pretty much knowing when to give and when to take. Because Chiron isn't only about being the teacher, it's also about learning. So Chiron is like communication, it's ruled by Virgo. So this is communication isn't just reading, writing, speaking, it's also listening. So she also struggles with uh, listening to other people's opinions. Her ego might tell her that that person is trying to control her or trying to get her to follow underneath their empowerment. So Saturn can be there to teach her many lessons on learning about listening. Now she has a sextile with Mercury and Neptune, so um, she could speak very sweetly to others. She can make others fall for her fantasy. Like, you're gonna believe what I'm saying because you love me, and yeah, I have this powerful effect on you. Like she could put I want to say mesmerizing. She can mesmerize people with what she's expressing. That's how powerful her effect is on the collective or who's around her. We also have moving on conjunction with Pluto. So things kind of work in her favor when she's expressing herself within harmony and it brings transformation. She also goes lots of transformations with the way that she expresses herself. She might express herself one way in this time, her hair might be pink for 5 years, and then all of a sudden she goes bald or she goes blue. She'll find different ways to express her transformations. Now, her Venus and her Jupiter are in square. So she struggles with expanding on her desires. It's kind of like she's restricted. She has to fight to expand on those desires. Her Venus is square to Neptune, so she's fighting to not fall into the illusions. Venus is ruled by Lucifer, not to fall into the illusion and the traps of the world. She has to learn to liberate herself sometimes from desires that aren't so good for her, and she has to look at it from a higher perspective on how it may impact the collective consciousness. She has Mars squaring Uranus, so like I said, she could be very ambitious about helping the collective rebel from society in the conformance in the ways of the world, or she could fall to uh, struggling to rebelling against society and conforming to the ways of the world. She does have Jupiter conjunction with Neptune. So when she does have faith, it's very strong and powerful and impactful, and it works for her. So whatever her faith is, it expands. She has a strong sense of faith. That's that optimistic. She can see the bigger picture, and she can help others see a bigger picture as well. Now we do have Saturn trying to Uranus. So is going to be help her teach and learn lessons about the world, the constraints, rebellion, and how to just really manage your time here on Earth. So we have Neptune, sextile to Pluto. Her faith system may change a lot. She may, you know, believe in one thing for 10 years, and then all of a sudden she may be like, maybe let's say she's a monk for 10 years, and then she falls out of that and then she wants to be a Christian for 10 years. So her faith and her spirituality could change a lot. You'll see that happening with her a lot. Those are her main aspects, okay? Let's see here. Now, I am looking at the D1 chart. The charts go all the way up to the D144. I'm just looking at the D1 chart, okay? If you guys study Vedic astrology, then you know. If not, there goes a little assignment for you guys to look into. Her dharma is doing what you are supposed to do and fulfilling it in your soul daily activities. So her dharma would be, if you guys didn't know what dharma is, what her dharma is. Her dharma is learning to find the duality of expressing herself and expressing the collective and not getting lost in the collective or detaching herself from the collective. Kind of like saying, getting lost in that spiritual sense of ego, like I'm the best, I'm chosen, nobody else is chosen, nobody else is gifted, and nobody else is as fabulous as me because I'm just so fucking fabulous. That's her dharma, is to learn to control that and to learn to express that in a healthy way. She's learning to be ambitious about her faith, her spirituality, and her subconscious. She's learning what her subconscious is, in a sense. That's the way you want to look. She's learning what the collective consciousness is and learning how it mirrors back to her the power that she has in the collective consciousness. This was my analysis on Madonna's birth chart. If you guys would like to book a birth chart reading, you guys can find that information in the link down below. Madonna's pretty awesome. I think her chart is cool, and I'm grateful for whoever put her chart up there. I do Vedic astrology. I also do tropical. So if you guys want to get into that, I also do draconic. If you want to get into that, wherever you want to take it, do a video maybe on what the difference of all three charts are. Okay, for you guys if you didn't know. Reading, and we'll get into it. We will get into it. I will write you a PDF about major impactments in your life, and I will also go into what's going on in your, the psychology of it. A lot of people, when they study astrology, they forget that it's just characters that we all embody. The collective consciousness is all zodiac signs. In our mind, our equilibrium, okay, our feminine and masculine energy coming into harmony. There are 6 feminine zodiac signs and 6 masculine zodiac signs come into harmony, and they all play a part in the way that we experience the universe from the inside of us into the external world. This is where man and spirit come into union, the contract of the universe and Earth. Okay, so make sure y'all hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and if there's somebody else's birth chart you guys want me to go over, I'd be more than happy to do that. Comment down below, and take care, you guys.